You may have watched the previous video where we talked about the graveyard of hobbies, the place where dust-covered guitars, half-finished online courses, and abandoned startup projects lie quietly as evidence of all the times we gave up. We discussed the neuroscience of perseverance and how to train the brain's persistence muscle. But after turning off that video, some of you didn't see yourselves in it. You're not the type who quits when things get hard. Your problem is more complicated. You don't lack perseverance. You lack a map. You look at life and see 12 doors wide open. You could learn to code, write a book, work in marketing, study psychology, open a coffee shop, travel around the world, and start your own podcast. And the irony is, you genuinely believe you could do all of it. But that's exactly why you stand still. Not because you're lazy, but because you're afraid of choosing wrong. Afraid that if you step through one door, the other 11 will slam shut forever. Society has a word for you, a jack of all trades. It stings a little, doesn't it? Jack of all trades, master of none, someone who knows a bit of everything but isn't truly great at anything. And if you're honest with yourself, there are nights when you wonder, is my curiosity a gift or a flaw? If you feel slightly called out by these words, good, because what I'm about to say next might change the way you see yourself. But before we continue, pause for a second, take a deep breath, and ask yourself, have I never lacked ability? Only the right structure for the way my brain works? If that question makes your heart beat a little faster, stay with me until the end of this video. There is a belief that has been repeated so often, it sounds like a law of physics. If you want to succeed, you must choose one thing and pursue it to the very end. The earlier, the better. The narrower, the better. And if you change direction, it's a sign that you lack seriousness. We grow up with the image of the expert as a monument. A heart surgeon operating for 30 years. An engineer working on the same type of machine for a lifetime. A professor researching a single topic until their hair turns white. That model made perfect sense in a stable world where the rules didn't change too quickly. Repeated practice in an environment with clear feedback produces excellence. But the problem is you no longer live in that world. Today's world is like a chessboard that rotates after every move. Technology updates constantly. Careers disappear and emerge like fashion trends. Skills once considered safe for life now have expiration dates. If you force yourself to become a key that opens only one lock, you'll panic every time the door changes. And then you blame yourself. Why am I not as specialized as others? Why am I drawn to so many different things? Maybe because your brain was designed for a different kind of world. Try thinking of careers as shapes. An eye-shaped person digs a single pillar deep into the ground. They are specialists. Steady, focused, and in a stable environment, they shine brilliantly. But there are other shapes too. Some people are like a horizontal line, spreading wide, but never reaching the necessary depth. They read a lot, try a lot, start many things, but when turbulence hits, they don't have a strong enough foundation. If you've ever seen yourself in that image, you know the quiet shame of having to explain your CV. But there is another shape mentioned less often. The M shape. 2 or 3 deep pillars connected by a broad horizontal bar of knowledge. This is not aimless scattering. It is intentional structure. You choose one field and go deep enough to become truly competent. Then you choose another field and go deep in the same way. The breadth at the top isn't for showing off how much you know, but for creating unexpected connections between the pillars. It's those connections that generate unique value. The power of a multi-pillar person lies in the ability to see the structure beneath the surface. A specialist typically uses their knowledge to solve problems similar to what they already know. They optimize within familiar boundaries, but a multi-pillar person can transfer ideas across distance. They recognize that principles of balance in music can apply to product design. They see that the way a story is structured mirrors how a marketing strategy should unfold. They see the geometry of the problem, not just its surface. And here's the part that may make you uncomfortable. If you keep jumping from one thing to another without ever going deep enough, you are not a polymath. You are simply avoiding the discomfort of true learning. Your curiosity may be a gift, but without discipline and structure, it becomes a beautiful excuse for delaying maturity. So how do you build an M-shaped life instead of a tired horizontal line? First, accept the principle of cyclical mastery. You cannot build 2 pillars at once without weakening both. Choose one pillar, just one, and commit to it for a long enough period to move beyond the initial excitement phase. 6 months, 12 months, even 18 months. Long enough that you can no longer rely on temporary motivation, but must rely on discipline. When you reach the point where you can solve most common problems in that field, you are not quitting. You are graduating. You intentionally move on to build the next pillar. This is not escape. It is evolution. The difference lies in awareness. You are not pushed away by boredom, but pulled forward by a strategic decision. At the same time, you need a stable foundation. This may not sound romantic, but it is crucial. A job that is stable enough to pay the bills and not drain all your mental energy can be your greatest ally. If you jump into a passion job that consumes 110% of your energy, you will have nothing left to invest in your second pillar. Stability is not surrender. Sometimes it is the smartest strategy to protect your creative energy. Finally, you must build a system outside your brain. Your brain loves new ideas. It produces them constantly. But if you don't record them, you will live in a permanent state of overwhelm. Write down what you learn. Capture unexpected associations. Store them somewhere you can return to. Over time, you will begin to see the threads connecting different fields. That is when your M shape starts to take form. You may still be wondering, can I really do this? Or am I just comforting myself with a beautiful story? The answer depends on whether you are willing to discipline your curiosity. If you continue to let it pull you in every direction without structure, you will remain in a state of potential. But if you consciously choose to build each pillar one at a time, you will create a structure that very few people possess. And here is a clear call to action. Right after you finish reading this, choose a single pillar for the next 6 months. Write it down, commit to it. Don't say we'll see. Don't wait for perfect inspiration. If you don't decide, the world will decide for you. And most likely, it will choose a path that is safe, but never truly yours. You were not born to become a copy of someone else's expertise. You may be designed to become a bridge between worlds, but a bridge is only strong when both shores are solid. Build each shore one at a time. And when you look back, you will realize that the very thing that once made you doubt yourself was your deepest competitive advantage. You might have listened up to this point and felt both relieved and slightly exposed. Relieved because finally someone said that you're not broken. Exposed because you know very well that if you don't change the way you act, all of these insights will become just another intellectual high you forget after 3 days. And if that happens, let's be honest, the problem is no longer society, a wicked environment, or the structure of modern careers. The problem is that you enjoy thinking of yourself as special more than actually building something special. So here's a clear call to action. Don't just nod along. Today, choose one pillar. Write it down. Commit to a specific time frame and start taking action before you feel ready. If you need a more detailed map to review your interests and design your own M-shaped structure, download the free guide I've prepared. Don't save it to read later. Download it. Open it. Complete the first exercise within 24 hours. If you're still sitting there hesitating, maybe you're not lacking direction. Maybe you're addicted to the feeling of potential. And potential, when unused, turns into a burden.